In this video, we're going to be learning some everyday British vocabulary. As you probably know, there are a lot of words that we use in British English which aren't used in American English. There are some words and some expressions that are different. First, we are going to focus on some of the words which are different. We are not going to mention all of them because there are a lot of them, but we're going to see quite a few of them. When talking about cars, in British English we say the boot instead of the trunk of a car. The boot is the back of the car where you put suitcases and bags. And we say bonnet instead of hood. The bonnet is the front part of the car that you can lift up, and it covers the front part of the car where the engine is. Normally, if your car breaks down, you usually lift the bonnet up to see what's the matter. The place where you park your car is a car park in British English, whereas in American English it is a parking lot. The next section that we're going to talk about is food. These words are the ones that people usually know, like we say biscuit instead of cookie. A cookie for us is a biscuit with chocolate chips in it. Then we have chips, which are fries in American English, and when we have fish and chips, they would be fish and fries for an American person. And crisps for us are what Americans would call potato chips. So crisps come in a bag, in a packet. So we would normally say a packet of crisps. And lastly, we have sweets, which Americans call candy. There are also a few differences with clothes. We would call a sweater a jumper. So a British person would say, put your jumper on because it's cold outside. Then we have trousers, which are pants in American English. I bought a new pair of trousers last week. If we say the word pants, it means something else in British English. Pants are what Americans would call underpants, so you wear your pants under your trousers. Then what babies wear when they are not toilet trained are nappies. Nappies are diapers in American English. Now let's talk about things that we have in the house. A wardrobe is where you put your clothes, and in American English they would say closet. So I put my clothes in the wardrobe last night. In the living room you would have a telly or a TV, and in American English they would say television or TV. I don't think they would understand you if you said telly. If you have a garden in your house, Americans would call that a yard. For us, a yard is something else. If a building or your house has a yard, it would be concrete and paved. It wouldn't have grass and it wouldn't be planted. So, for example, if a company has a yard, it's a paved area and isn't green at all. Houses in the UK normally have a garden. Then we have some other ones like bin, which is a trash can in American English, and what you throw into the bin is rubbish, and that's called trash in American English. So I would take the rubbish and I would throw it into the bin or the dustbin. A dustbin is bigger than a bin. And a dustbin is a garbage can in American English. You would normally have a bin in the kitchen and a dustbin outside because they are big containers. Where I live, I empty the bin into the dustbin and they come and collect the dustbin every 2 weeks. Now let's talk about places in the city. A petrol station is where we fill our car with petrol, and that would be a gas station in American English, and they would fill their car with gas, not petrol. If you go to a school and you're a young child, you would go to primary school in the UK, whereas in American English that would be elementary school, and then the older children go to secondary school, which is high school in American English. If you think about it, when you're watching a film, and these films are normally American, students usually go to high school. They never say secondary school. If you want to buy some medication, you would have to go to the chemist, which is a pharmacy in American English. At the pharmacy, you can buy a plaster, which is something that you can put on your skin if you have cut yourself, and so that you don't bleed anymore and you don't catch it on anything. In American English, that would be a band-aid. Now let's look at some common British phrases and expressions that I would use in my day-to-day life. Imagine I've decided to join some tennis classes. I would give it a go. Give it a go means to try something. So I would give tennis a go. I would give it a go. If I liked the tennis lessons, I would be chuffed, which means that I would be very pleased or happy. But if I didn't like them, I would be gutted, which means to be very disappointed. Let's think of another example. Last weekend, I saw a recipe for a chocolate cake, and I decided to give it a go. I was quite chuffed with the result because it turned out really well. Well, that's what I thought, but then I cut into it and it wasn't cooked inside, so I was gutted. If I tried the tennis lessons and I didn't really like them, I could say it wasn't my cup of tea. If you say that something isn't your cup of tea, it means that you don't like something, it's not something that you enjoy. When we are talking about money, we can say quid. Quid means a pound. So if I say that it cost 10 quid, it means that it cost 10 pounds. It's quite informal, so you wouldn't say that to your boss, for example, but if you're with your friends and family, you could say that you spent 20 quid yesterday. A £5 note is a fiver, and a £10 note is a tenner. If you're invited to someone's house and they say, "Fancy a cuppa?" they're basically asking whether you want a cup of tea. A cuppa is a short way of saying a cup of tea. So, fancy a cuppa is, "Would you like a cup of tea?" And they might say, "I'm going to put the kettle on." The kettle is the appliance that we use to heat up water, and that's the only thing that we really use a kettle for. So if someone is saying that they are putting the kettle on, it means that they're making a cup of tea, not that they're just heating the water. There are so many of these expressions, and I'm thinking about doing a part 2 of this video. So the last one is going to be ta-da. Ta-da is something that we usually say to children to say goodbye because it's something that is easy for them to say. If you say ta-da, then it means goodbye. However, sometimes you hear people saying it to other adults, not only to children. So if you have enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel and I'll see you in the next one. Ta-da!